Hello guys, welcome back to Laravel 9 tutorial, and in this video we are going to discuss about what is RESTful API, and we'll create a complete CRUD application from scratch with Laravel using RESTful API, right? So if you guys not sure about what is basically REST API, I will simply say you a RESTful API is an artificial program interface that uses HTTP request you can say get, put, post, delete, this kind of things, right? So basically it used to exchange data or information securely over the internet, right? So this video will discuss about all the things, so take a note and be ready. So I will start from very scratch. So first I will install the application. So simply I will going to install the application or going to create a project through the composer. So simply write composer create project, and suppose this is the Laravel project, so simply write Laravel / Laravel, and suppose my application is API Crud app. Okay, so these are the command to create any new application. And you can see this is the Laravel 9.5.2. this is the latest version I am installing, and it's downloading from the internet, and it will take some time to complete installation process, right? So it's installing. Okay, so it's installed successfully and the package manifest created and application set successfully. So just go inside the application. So simply just write here cd API Crud application. Okay, just I created. Okay, I am inside this application, and for development purpose I will going to use the Visual Studio Code. So this is the command to open Visual Studio Code, or you can directly open from the application also. So just enter this, so it will open the Visual Studio Code editor, right? So this is my code editor. So I'm just going to increase the size. Okay, so that's good, it's visible clearly. Okay, so this is the application and I just created, and first of all this is the CRUD application. I need to connect with the database. Simple. So these are the basic things. So this is the .env file to configure your database. So here simply by default this part is written here. I am just going to create a database, and this is the database name is, suppose I write API Crud app. Okay, so this is enough, and my username is root, and here my password is root abcd123 @ okay, this is my database password. So I just configured into this .env file, and just go here localhost php myadmin. Okay, so root and password already is saved into my browser, and just create a database. Okay, so simply just API Crud app. So the bank database is created. All right, now here I need some controllers, some tables, some data. Okay, so first of all, if you check into the directory, so just go to the Visual Studio Code, and I'm just closing this, I don't need this. In the database section you will get some migrations already created. So my database is connected, and now I just going to migrate the default things which are provided from the Laravel. When you just install the Laravel, I got these things. So PHP artisan migrate. Okay, so it's migrating. That means our application database successfully configured, and if you refresh you can see these are generated. Okay, now I am going to create a CRUD for student. Okay, so I will create a student controller, student model, and a migration, student migration, and will insert some data, and will create API like create, add, edit, delete API, right? So all will do step by step. Now first create a controller, php artisan make, and controller, suppose my controller name is student controller. Okay, so controller is created successfully, and let's zoom out some. Okay, so it will give a single line. Okay, and now just going to create another model. So PHP artisan make model, and model name is student, and also I need a migration. So simply we can write here -m, it will create a model and it will create a migration also. So now model created and a created migration. Okay, so if you just go to the directory, you will get three things. So first of all, inside the app http controller, you will get the student controller. So this is my controller file, and now if you just go to the model folder, you will get the student model I just created, and also I created a migration. So this is the create student table migration. Okay, so this is the schema of this table, and when you run this migration, basically it will create a table with the name students. Okay, now I just going to add some fields here. So simply I just going to add a table, and also this is the string type, and here simply write name. Okay, and in this way, if I just going to add some things like name, email, or anything like a phone. Okay, so I'm just taking as a string because sometimes someone if someone wants to add plus or anything, so you can save. Okay, so I am not taking much validation on phone. Okay, so the migration is ready. Now let's migrate. PHP artisan migrate again, and this will migrate the student table, right? So it's migrated. This is the students table I got, and if you see the structure, you are getting the name, email, phone, and this is the default field, and ID is the primary key. Okay, so all are good. Now I just going to see after installation how my project application is running. So simply I am just going to run the application PHP artisan serve. Okay, so application is started. Now I just running this. So Laravel 9.50.2 is running. That means this is the latest version of this current time. Okay, now here to view some list, so I will create API. So first I will create a list API. So I want to get all the data from the student table. Okay, so to get the list of all student, basically first of all I need some data should have inside the student table. So here I will show you how to create a fake data inside the student table, right? So you will know that. Now just go into the seeder section. So if you just go to the database folder, inside the database folder we have a seeders. So I will just going to seed some data. So just go here. So this is the default seeder. When you just install your application, it's created. Now I just going to use this seeder. Okay, so these are already created when you just created your application. So simply just write app models, and this is the student model, and this is the factory 10 create. You can use that things also, and you can use in this way also. So simply just write app model student. This is the name, email, and here I can add another things, that is the phone. Okay, so simply write phone, and you can write some phone numbers. Right now here I just going to use the faker class. Okay, so using the faker class we can insert any data randomly, right? So simply just use here use faker, and just write factory, factory factory, and just create alias name, so as a faker. Okay, and using that faker I will create. Okay, so simply just write dollar faker equal to faker, and just call the create function, and here using this faker object I can insert anything. Okay, so simply just write here for each and I just going to set a range. So simply I just want to insert 10 records, so simply write 1 to 10, and here simply write dollar index, index, and here just write these things. Okay, and using the faker we will create a random name, random email, this kind of things, right? So this will be a array. So sorry, this is a mistake. Actually inside the loop I need to create the insert comment. So simply use the db, and the table name is students, and here simply write the insert query, insert, and here just inside the array just paste it. Okay, and simply use this faker. So simply write dollar faker name, and in this way here dollar faker email, and for phone number write dollar faker phone number. Okay, and here I am using db, that's the reason we need to add this. Okay, use db. Okay, so that we can access db, so don't need this, right? So all good. Now I just going to run the seeder. So just closing the server for now, and just write php artisan db seed. Okay, seeding database. So I just going to seed 10 records. So just go into the database and let's see. So we are having 10 records with a phone number, email, and name, all are fake data. Okay, so my data part is ready. Now I just going to create API. So now the application starting again. Okay, so application is running, and here to create API we need a tool, that is you can use the Postman tool. So this is basically API creating tool, and you can test API and you will have different type of HTTP request options, so that you can use this. So first of all just create a collection, and simply just name the collection API Crud app. So this is my collection, and here we can create a request. So simply write add request, and first we are going to create a request to get the data. Okay, so list student. Okay, now to create API we need to just go to the routes. So for API we will use the API routes, and here is the options. Now here I just simply writing one API, and I just checking whether it is working or not. Okay, so simply write API and using the get method, and simply write get student. Okay, and simply just call the student controller. I have a student controller, and simply use the student controller class, and here I am just creating get all student. Okay, so this will be the function name, and I need to create this function here inside the controller, and I just creating public function get all student. All right, now we need to use the student controller from here, so that we can access the student controller functions. Okay, so this is the class name, app http controllers student controller. All right, now I just going to respond something, return something like okay. Okay, so to call this function we need to call this URL. So how you can do this? So just go to the Postman. So here's my Postman, and you can see this is a get request. So use the get request, and my URL path, that is the project path where service is running, this path. This is the 127.0.01 and 8000. So simply write this, and as we are using API, So we need to write API here. Now click on send, you will get the response that is okay, right? So now this API is working. Now I can call this, or now we can use this function to get all the record from the student model. So first of all, to use student model, we need to call this app model student from the user controller, student controller, and then we can access the student model from here. So simply write student, and now I just going to get all the record from the student table. So simply I just creating a variable to store all the record, and here simply write the student all. Okay, so basically it will get all the record from the student table, right? And here I just going to response it, return response, and the ration and the response obviously should be JSON format. Okay, so this is the common basic format to return any API. So simply write result, and this is the status code, that is the 200 means status is okay. Now just go to the Postman again and let's try it. So just click on that. So here we are getting all the records, right? So these are the 10 records, whatever we added we are getting from the API. Okay, so list API part is ready. Now the next things, if I want to get a particular record, means suppose I want to get the record which ID is 1 or which ID is 2, then how can I do this? Simply just create another API. So get student by ID, this is the URL, and also this is the get API. So simply just create a get API, and here write route get, this is the URL, and here I just need to pass the ID which actually I am going to get access of that particular ID. Okay, and here we can pass dynamically. There is the curly braces, inside the curly braces we are passing the ID, and here my controller function name is something like that, get student by ID. So just write here get student by ID. Okay, so this is the function name. I just going to create a function with this. So simply create public function get student by ID, and here actually we are getting the ID. Actually we will pass the particular ID which actually I need to get. So that's the reason we need to set this ID here, and we need to take this ID from this, right? Now here I will do one thing, simply just use this student model here, and here I just creating a variable to get the data student, and here simply write the student model, and let's find it. Okay, so I am finding particular ID. Okay, and here I will check if we get something, that means student is exist, otherwise student is not found. So simply you can write if student, then we can set a response like that, return, and simply write response in this way, return the student. Okay, and if we not get, then we can write these things else, return and response in this way, return a response, and here there is no response, that the things will create a message to show that student not found. Okay, so student, sorry, this will be the arrow, right? Student not found, and if not found, the status code will be changed. So 404 not found. Okay, now just try this. So I am not putting any ID here, so actually it will get the response 404 not found. So if you check, right, and here you can see the id. Suppose I want to get the id of 2, simply just pass 2 here and you will get the response, that is id 2. And if I just write 5, then you will get the particular record which id is 5. And if I just write 50, which is not exist, that time it will say student not found. Clear? So this part is done. If you want to get the particular student by id, we can use that API. Okay, now the next API, if I want to add student from this API, how we can do this? Okay, so let's create another route. So simply just go here, route. To add any student or to insert any records into the database, we will not use get that time, we will use post, right? So the method will be the post, and here I will write add student. Okay, and there will have a function in student controller. So let's call this student controller class, and my function name will be like add student, simple add student. And let's create a function with the same name. So simply write public function add student. So when we will simply add any student, we will use this request here. So simply write request $request. Right, so we'll get all the post request from this method, right? So simply just go to the Postman and create add post URL. So just go here and create another API and just use this add student URL, and that time it will be the post. Okay, now I need to pass the data from here. So simply the body and from data, and here write name, and then email, then phone, what we actually have in the database, right? So this is the things we have. So simply just see this, we have a name, email, phone, others are default things. Okay, so we'll just write name equal to suppose David, email david@email.com, and phone is something random number. Okay, so I just going to add this. So when you just click on that, actually all the request will get from here. So let's print that whether we are getting request or not. So simply just write dd and write request all. Okay, so this is the method we can get these things. So simply just check whether we are getting all the requests or not. So click on send, and we are getting these things, that is the preview part. So we are getting a array type things, and we are getting all the things which are passing. Okay, so this is a response from controller. Okay, so now we can save this the simple way. So simply just create a variable, another type of variable. So here just write student equal to the model name, that is student, and create to insert anything. So we can write, and we are getting all the things inside the request all. So just paste this. Okay, and then simply return the message. So simply return response and just pass the data, that is student, and when anything is created, that time the response code should be 201. Okay, now just call this again. So just post and adding these things, click on send. So there is a problem, the feedable property to allow mass assessment. Okay, so the problem is we don't have configure my model properly. So to mass insert, if you want to mass insert into your database, just go to the model, and here just write a protected variable. So protected and the fillable. Okay, so simply write $fillable equal to what we actually insert from the Postman. Okay, so name, email, and then phone. Now just click on send and it's inserted and return the record, and the ID is 11. So if you just see, there is always 10 record, and click on send, a new data is added into the list, that is the David, which actually I just inserted from this API. Alright, I think create property is clear. Now we have created list, we are getting data by ID, and the create part is done. Now if I just going to update something, how we can update this? Okay, so to update, we'll create another API, and this time the method will be put. Okay, and just change, it is the update student. Okay, and we'll update a particular record, so just change the ID, so just add ID here. Right now we need to create this URL into the routes, so just api.php and simply route, and this time I set it put, so simply here write put, or you can write it in this way also, put, and here my URL is update student, and we will pass the particular ID to update, and here just use these things. Okay, in this way, so comma and then all the things, so update student. Okay, so let's create a function into the student controller like another, so simply write public function 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 update student. So we need some request along with that ID, right? So we'll use both things like a request, and we are getting ID from the URL. Okay, so all are there. Now the thing I need to do, so here just go to the body from data. Suppose I just going to update the name from if you just go to the list, suppose the name is Alex, right? So I just going to update the name from ID 1. So simply when the ID is 1, I just passing the name equal to something, right? I will update, I have to write the code for that. So simply here write $student, this is the variable, and simply use student, this is the model name, and first we need to find if we have any record for this particular ID, then we can update, otherwise we cannot. So first let's find this and check if is null the student $student, then we cannot update. So simply write student not found in this way, otherwise let's update. So else we can update. So simply use this student variable $student and simply write update. What will update? Whatever we are getting from the request. Okay, so basic part is near about same, you just need to understand logically, right? And simply just return the response. So this time the response code will be 200, this is success. Okay, now just use this here, name is something, and click on send, and you can see, so it's not updated. Why not updated? So let's check once. So simply just check whether we are getting all the things from the request or not. So let's click on send again, and here we are not getting anything, that is the array is blank, that the reason it's not updating. So simply just write here from data, and you can pass in params also. So simply write name something, okay, and click on send. Okay, we are getting name, right? So all are getting from the request, and now if I just going to send this, we are getting the name is updated to something, right? So if I check here in the list also we are getting something, and in the database if you check, this name also changed into something, and one record inserted in previous case when we just added the insert operation. Okay, so I think you can understand what is the update operation. And the last things we need to do, the delete operation. Okay, so how we can do delete operation? So simply this is the another routes we need to create. So simply just route right here route, and this time we will use the delete. Okay, and here we need to delete a particular student. So simply write delete student, and here this will be the ID. Okay, and just use these things like all, right? And just change the function name, that is the delete student. Okay, so just use this, where is the error? Oh sorry. Okay, now now let's create a function, public function, and function name is delete student, and we are getting ID from here. And now just do the same things like here. So simply write ID. So if the student is present, if there is student, we can update, otherwise we cannot update. So simply else we cannot update, so we can write the else but student not found. Okay, and if we found, that time we can use the student and call the student model, and simply call the Laravel function destroy. Okay, and what we are going to destroy, the ID. Okay, we are going to pass the ID to delete some things. Okay, now simply write this type of message, this. Okay, so just copying this every time, don't need to write repeatedly. So message student deleted, and this is the success message, so 200. Okay, now just create this URL delete student. So just go to the Postman again, and let's copy these things, and here simply write delete student, and I just passing this ID, and this time the method is delete. So there's a reason we need to use the delete method. Okay, so just click on send. So student deleted. Okay, so if you just go to here, and you can see the ID1 is deleted. Also from the list we cannot see that things, and if I just going to delete something which are not present in this database, that time it's showing student not found. And if I want to delete which ID is 11, that is possible, so student deleted. Refresh this, the student is deleted. So hope you can understand the list API and get individual student by ID, then add, then update, and the delete. Okay, so the total CRUD application for student, add, edit, delete, all the things, right? So hope you will like this video, and still if you have any queries about this video, please comment in the below comment section. And next we are going to discuss about another interesting topic, so stay with me and just click on subscribe to help me. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day. Bye.